So without this knowledge, it's kind of impossible to have an accurate ROI. You can do an approximation, but sometimes this approximation will cost you a few percent out of ROI, and you would go for a completely different property because of this few percent.
There's just too many aspects that you need to take care of.
Yeah. So as an investor who is willing to get a passive income, basically you have no options. Your only option is reputable, reliable, trusted management company.
So we talked about the due diligence that investors need to do before they pursue on the investing part. But I think there's a lot of things going on and a lot of parties to be involved. You have the notary, you have the tax companies, consultants, and so on and so on. Is there any other way for investor to pursue this business without having all those headaches and having to deal with all those parties?
A real estate agency.
Real estate agency.
To be honest with you, we've seen people that tries to go about purchasing properties by themselves, meaning that they go directly to a developer or they try to find their own diamond in the rough, meaning that finding a land by themselves, talking to locals. Sometimes it pans out, sometimes. But it's a very uphill battle, meaning that are you really finding the owner of the land? Are you really finding a good, reputable developer? Some just falls to traps of sweet words of developers because they want to sell. They create a really good estimation on what their performance would be for their projects. And perhaps they actually believe that because it's their project. It's their
baby.
Yes, their baby.
Their baby is the best.
Yes. My baby is the best baby, of course. But finding a party that is Switzerland, meaning that it's neutral, they want to help you, especially the ones that are, after they help you purchase, they are the one also managing it for you. It's rare, but you do need those. Meaning that if they just helping you to sell, then they still can create the really good ROIs for you, make you believe in it, and then bye-bye. But the ones that are, meaning that they help you purchase, create a real ROI, and then actually tries to get those ROI for you, I think it's a more neutral and a more partnership material instead of to just buy it and then bye-bye.
Best thing about real estate agency that you don't need to pay anything.
Yes.
There are no fees for the buyer. You only pay 1% notary fee for securing for due diligence and securing your agreement. And when you go to a good real estate agency, they have a lot of market knowledge to actually tell you what is the best deal, how your property going to perform on the rental market, what your exit strategy will be in a number of years. So they can find the property based on your long-term goals, not just sell you something that is that easiest to pitch.
Yes.
So this is very important. Also, they will navigate you through all the legalities and help you avoid the costly mistakes. And it costs nothing. And we in Bnbprofits, we really aimed at making like a seamless experience for the buyer. So, we pick the buyer up on a car and take you across the properties that you liked from our portfolio. And then, we carefully record all your feedback. And then if you like the property, we will, do all the preparation for you and estimate its earning potential and so on and so forth.
Yeah, from our experience, normally we have two large groups of clients. Potential buyers. Some buyers are trying to kind of like cut a middleman and go directly to the landowner or developer. And sometimes you think you can save on this, but actually it's going to be at the same price with us through the agency and with developer. Again, our services are free for the buyer. The thing is, when you're new on a new market, you wanna have someone local by your side. You wanna have an agent actually working on your behalf and pursuing your interests. So
You need someone to read the fine print for you, because there will be a lot of fine print in the contract between you and developer, in
small
the due
font at
diligence.
the end of the contract that you need to understand.
Yeah.
So basically, we are trying to operate. We are operating as a one-stop shop for all property services. So we can help choose the right property within the buyer's budget, estimate revenue and ROI potential from short-term rentals. We can give suggestions on furnishing, decoration, interior design, and so on. We can do all the due diligence, engineering inspection, and actually launch the property as a short-term rental unit and actually deliver on what we promise in our earnings projection. So I guess the main benefit for the buyer that will be turned into owner here is to have one company, someone who is assisting him through the whole process, starting from choosing the right property all the way to a potential exit few years down the road if you want to reinvest in.
Yeah, I'd say don't go for just any real estate agency. There's so many of them because it's just so easy to open a real estate agency. We see sometimes in Facebook ads, an account that is actually was doing nails and eyelashes. Suddenly advertises viewers for sale and claim that they're the big player. So you want to kind of when you're thinking which real estate agency you want to work with, just go to their website, see the About Us page, see how many listings they have, see what are the other services. Go to their Google Maps, see what kind of reviews do they have there. Maybe just explore the web, explore their social media, just to kind of get the picture of, how well established this company is, what is their reputation, how modern they are, who are the people behind the company, who are the people working for the company, and all that, because it's an important choice. You're going to have a relationship with these people. The investment can be, it's never a small investment if you're buying real estate. It's a significant thing. So you want to have the professionals, reputable professionals by your side who care for their reputation to guide you and actually make it a pleasant experience.
So we're done with step one, and that is acquiring the property. All the process, all the legal aspects, the surveys that you need to do. You can have a real estate agency to help you with that. But what comes after is the other most important part, which is to manage and run the property in the way that you expect it to be. So I think here we have the importance of a property management company to help us with that. But I think you can give us an idea just how important in what aspects are the property management are going to help investors in managing the company, their business.
Real estate agency, especially when you help selling, it's a simple game, meaning that you need to find good supplies, have good relationship with the buyer, and have all the necessary backing in terms of finding a really good notary, finding a really good legal consultant if the client needs it, and a tax consultant to help everything in the process. But property management is not simple. Especially property management in Bali, where guests request and expect a level of hotel levels.
Yeah,
that is 5-star hotel levels.
Yeah.
It's not an easy game. These guys would know better, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So basically, as a buyer, once you acquire the property, that's just a part of the equation. So the first step is done. But until you have a reputable property management looking after your asset, basically this property is your liability because you need to cover the running cost, pool, garden maintenance, some housekeeping and so on. So if the property is sitting empty, waiting for the next buyer, it's your liability until you have a property management company looking after your asset. So yeah, super important to have someone experienced in the local market with some significant portfolio that can organize everything, starting from guest communication, guest vetting, calendars, marketing, all the property maintenance, and so on. So yeah, property management is hard. It's something that should run 365 days a year, 24/7. Yeah, we have check-ins, check-outs every day, no matter if it's a Monday or Sunday. So yeah, the guests expect basically a hotel standard, daily housekeeping, the property that is maintained to the highest standard, always ready for the guest, always ready for potential buyers. So yeah, this is something that it's almost impossible to do on your own if you don't want to make it your main job. If you have something else to do, then definitely it's so it basically requires your full involvement if you want to do it yourself.
Yeah.
And it's almost impossible to do it from overseas. So you want to have someone local, experienced on site to handle this for you.
And it's not fun. Management of a grower is not fun.
Real estate agencies we see pop up almost every week, I guess.
Yeah.
Like if
You're
people are
selling
trying,
is
because
fun.
it's very cheap to do a try. Like all the developers will give you their listings, and they will give you commission, and then you just need a reach in media, so you can generate some leads, and then you close one lead, you probably covered all your overhead for 1 year if you close one deal. Property management companies, we haven't seen a single serious company emerge in 5 or 6 years. There are some small companies that are trying to win a certain percentage of the market, but no major new competitors, because I think about it as as a mechanism with lots of moving parts that has to run, like Alex said, 365 days a week, a year, 24 hours a day, with lots of people involved. Like we have about 200 people in the company, and we had to build everything in-house, from cleaning, engineering, supply chains, maintenance, all the utility payments, all the hospitality side with check-ins, check-out, guest concierge, and so on. It may sound like fun in the beginning when you just purchased your villa or you're building your villa and you plan to run it as your little hotel. But then when you're going to start getting at 3 a.m. calls because Wi-Fi is slow,
toilet doesn't flush right,
and then your housekeeper coming to the villa and discovering that 3 people were supposed to check in, but 7 people checked in, and people slept on the sofa, and they had a party or something, or calls from neighbors, and so on and so forth. It very quickly becomes
a nightmare,
a burden, and then we have quite more than handful clients coming after they try to self-manage, and they're like, "Oh, you guys fetch."
Enough of this.
So yeah, maybe with one property it's doable, but if you have like multiple properties, it becomes a full-time job, and also like it's very hard to get good talents. So like a good housekeeper is worth a lot in Bali, because you would, like, as an owner of vacation rental, if you do it yourself, in your recruitment processes, you're going to compete with hotel chains, you're going to compete with cruise liners, you're going to compete with villa complex, you're going to compete with management companies that all can offer better benefits, service charges, and so on and so forth. So it will be a challenge to get a nice gardener, a nice cleaner, a nice manager to take care of the guests, unless you want to do it yourself. But again, to do it yourself, you need a company, you need the proper work permit, and so on. So it's I would really not recommend, like on a small scale, if you have like a villa or a few villas, unless you're building your own guest house or a villa complex or a hotel, I would not recommend doing management yourself. And I would neither recommend hiring a small team that maybe offers a smaller fee for their services, because the thing is that with vacation rentals, you want something that is lasting, that is enduring, that works stable for a number of years. Because with vacation rental, like the reputation of a property, it's kind of accumulating over time as a review count growth, algorithms pick up your listing better, and so on. So if you have a small team handling all of this, it's unlikely that they will be able to maintain the quality, because let's say, a key person from the team resigns or relocates somewhere, then the small team needs to, rebuild from scratch. If it's runs like startup, everyone is covering for each other. I know because we've been there, 5 years ago, like me and Alex. In the beginning, we would sometimes back up our housekeepers because there's doing the check. Like the housekeeper called in sick and we have a check-in, so we would go and make the beds back in 2018 easily, or check in the guests, or
dealing with the noise.
Like
Saturday night,
neighbors of one of the villas in the management calling and saying that there's something going on.
There's just too many aspects that you need to take care of that sometimes the investor is not aware of.
Yeah.
So as an investor who is willing to get a passive income, basically you have no options. Your only option is the reputable, reliable, trusted management company. As kind of like a business owner operator, this may look easier on the surface. Then, I just need to hire a housekeeper and a gardener and a pool guy and an engineer, and then I have a HR to hire all them. Then I need a marketing guy. And then I need an accountant. Then I need a customer service guy.
Concierge?
Customer service and concierge. And the list goes on and on. So basically, there is no point, doesn't make any sense to replicate the system we have for several properties. So we have, as Marcus said, over 200 people across 14 departments, doing 7 days a week for a pretty little commission, I would say. So basically it's another easy business with low margin, very intensive, with a lot of moving parts, a lot of off-plan, a lot of offline things involved, and consistency and consistent quality is really hard to deliver.
I think here it's also mentioned that competition in Bali in vacation rentals. I mentioned again, that the competition is extremely high. There are about 1,000 or 1,500 new vacation rental properties on Airbnb just in Canggu compared to the last year. So competition is constantly growing, and there are many new projects in development that are going to have a newer designs, better amenities, and so on. So for your villa to compete, again, interior design, good management team, good marketing team behind it is essential. Don't compromise on that, because even you can fail with a great property because your marketing wasn't good enough, your content wasn't good enough, the knowledge of how algorithms work in Booking.com, Airbnb, and other platforms wasn't good enough.
Early days of Airbnb, 10 years ago, it used to be way easier. You just need to upload your property there, and here are your inquiries and guests. Now, with the competition, it's something that you want to be done on a professional level. You want to be backed by a team who knows what to do, and everything, as I mentioned, from dynamic pricing to guest relations, from production, from listings and photo shoots, reviews, and everything is important. So all these parts should around.
Basically, if your guest reported that the AC doesn't blow cold, you want to fix it within 30 minutes.
Yes.
Because you haven't fixed it within 30 minutes, you're getting 4-star reviews.
Yeah.
And like,
If your guest is
that's
coming
already
over-
bad.
Yes. 4 is already bad.
Yeah. If your guest arrival time is 3 a.m. on Saturday night, and you want someone to meet the guest and let him in, and with us, it's thousands of check-ins every month, and so this is something that should be pretty consistent, and so we always have a backup. We always have someone to. So the system is running no matter what. With the smaller companies or like with self-managed option, you basically either tied down to this business as an owner operator, trying to save on fees, but in the end, this basically money versus time.
Yeah, how valuable is your time?
Yeah, but if you have something else to do that actually generates you most of your income, and you want this house to be a little side income addition, that's your only option. And I wish we could be our own company clients, because this is a totally passive income. So all you need is to open the app on your phone once a month, check the report, make sure your payout is there, and that's it. That's it, basically.
Okay.
So it's truly passive income, organized by complex IT systems and backed by over 200 people doing 7 days a week, basically, to look after your asset. Another thing to mention is that properties managed by professional property management companies are consistently outperform the kind of self-managed. So globally,
Just big data.
globally around 40% of the properties managed by management companies or managers, and 60% self-managed, like overall. But this professionally managed part is consistently outperforms kind of DUI hosts in terms of occupancy and average daily rate and consistency of the reviews and like maintaining the super host status, things like this. So if you want to turn it into a passive income, that's your only option. Go for a reliable, trusted management company with hundreds of properties. So for them, one more property on board with established existing systems, that's going to be easy. For you would basically need to replicate the whole business structure just for one with property.
With one-man army behind
it doesn't make any sense to do that.
So now we have all that information, but the question is, how do you actually accurately project your financial income later on in your property?
Okay, it's not easy because you need a lot of data, first of all. You need to have historical data. You need to have a competitor set for the property that you're buying, and rates and occupancy can vary significantly, even for the properties with a similar design. Let's say 2 properties in Canggu, but where exactly in Canggu? Jalan Batu Balong and Jalan Padanan will have completely different, like a 2-bedroom in that location. Can be hundreds of dollars difference, really. So you have to have a lot of data, and you have to analyze the property from multiple perspectives: design, location, size of the bedrooms, size of the pool, open living, enclosed living, full kitchen or kitchenette, what are the additional amenities that are available, is villa located in a complex, so it will have a lower operational costs, or it's a standalone villa. What kind of service grade are you planning to provide to your guests? It's going to be daily cleaning, it's going to be butler on the property, it's going to be like a full concierge. You're going to hire the management company, or you're going to do it yourself. How your tax is going to be structured. So there are multiple things. We see sometimes the financial projections that developers kind of tag along with their sales pitch. And sometimes, guys, I'm telling you, it doesn't make any sense because, we know what we've been doing this for 6 years. We have nearly 200 properties in management that we have access to thousands of listings. We are also buying some data from various sources. So we know what the averages are. And we understand, okay, maybe somehow you can optimize the operational cost. But when we see, that the operational cost like a 7% out of revenue,
it's not.
This is
Yes. Yeah.
right? And, a person from outside, a buyer, an investor, might have no idea what the minimum wages are, what is the average amortization cost, to patch up the paint in the villa, to, clean the gutters once a year, to refill Freon in the ACs and so on. So there's many things related to vacation rental management and maintenance.
Yes.
So without this knowledge, it's kind of impossible to have an accurate ROI. You can do an approximation, but sometimes this approximation will cost you a few percent out of ROI, and you would go for a completely different property because of this few percent, right?
Yeah, sometimes it's the gross booking revenue that is presented to you as your
Real
as the
income,
number to calculate your ROI. Basically, as a buyer and now a property owner, you need to understand that around 50% of the gross paid by the guest will be allocated towards a commission, running costs of the property, taxes, and so on and so forth. So normally, the surface level projection is you just open the Airbnb and booking, you can see comparable properties and okay, they are charging this much, so I can charge this much as well, and that's it. With us, we basically have the data on, as Marcus said, tens of thousands of properties, so we can identify specific locations and streets and your direct competitors in your gang nearby, left and right, and compile all this data from various sources, including our own proprietary data on average running cost of the property. So to understand the bottom line, and that's mostly what the investors care about. So most of the buyers in Bali are buying the property as an investment. So your primary goal is your bottom line.
Another thing we frequently see that resale value and the exit, right? And developers and some real estate agencies would promise you a 20% gain from the resale value if you buy off plan. But then when we see the calculations, we see that to sell it, you need to pay a 5% agency fee for selling it, and then you need to pay a 10% tax. And this is completely left out. Certainly, you cannot. Maybe you can sell a property to a friend of yours, so you would skip
everything.
You would skip a 5% agency fee, but you will still need to pay a 10% on the value of tax. And so realistically, you cannot get these numbers with rare exception. So there's a lot of research. If you plan to do everything by yourself without a property management company and without a real estate agency, you need to do a lot of research again and make sure you factored in all the numbers. Also, definitely build a stressed scenario when everything goes bad, when your occupancy is actually way below. So kind of like a 30% below what your targets are, and see if it's still making sense, if you're not losing money, if you're at least your return drop from 12% to 5% in absolutely worst case scenario, then it's still probably you still have time to build things up and actually increase your returns. But if you can see that from this, with the stress scenario, you start losing money, then probably consider another property.
So normally what we see, we have a lot of clients coming over with I would say, a bit unrealistic expectations
Emotional attachment.
by the agencies and developers that they are expecting the ROI which is too good to be true for real estate niche. So the main point here is that unlike other agencies and developers, we as a management company, as a end-to-end service, which is a real estate agency and a management company, we actually have to deliver on what we promise. So we always very conservative in our estimates. So it's always better to under-promise and over-deliver, and this is something that we are doing. And the main point here is that you wanna stick to a conservative scenario as your base. If it's gonna run better than expected, then that's great. But being realistic about your end result, your bottom line, after all, after the OTAs fees, management fees, utility bills, cleaning, renovation, some occasional
supplies, laundry, banjar fees, garbage.
There's so many
go on and on and on. And I would say 8 to 10 to 15% ROI. That's a good ballpark reference number. And
we would give you an achievable number that we can achieve. Now, if we see that the property performs better than the plan that we set, what we're going to do? We're going to increase our target. We're going to increase the rate. We're going to increase the occupancy that we're aiming for, because we're commission based, so we rely on revenue. So we need to have the revenue as high as possible. So we are in the same boat here, on the same side.
So basically, as the buyer, if you're coming to us as a buyer, we can help you choose the right property within your budget and compare the potential ROI from property A versus property B. If you're coming over or as an owner with an existing property, we can basically make a financial projection for 1 year for you to understand what's going to be your average monthly payout after all, and the number that you spent initially to acquire this villa and maybe renovate this villa, so we can calculate your ROI. And we are looking at our past projections done a few years ago, and surprisingly, they are pretty...
we're like 92% accurate, I think.
So this is not a guessing game anymore. You have all the data you can collect in terms of everything, potential revenue, occupancy. So it's 1,000 data points involved here. And in the end, your projection can be pretty accurate. And this is something that we definitely recommend to get in the beginning, to actually understand that this property will need to run like a clock for next 8 to 10 years just to get your money.
Just get your numbers verified with us, so you're sure you're making the right decision.
All right. So Mark, Alex, and Sadhu, thank you so much for sharing your insights.
Thanks for having me.
You have given us everything from A to Z, the tips and tricks when it comes to property rentals in Bali. So everyone, thank you so much for watching us. If you want to know more about property rentals or property management in Bali, you can contact our team at Bnbprofits. We would love to help you with that. All right. So I'm Maria. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks. See you everyone next time.
Thank you.